Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be the Bookternet challenge, which is all about the books that Book Twitter and BookTube absolutely adore, the champions, the all stars of those two worlds, I guess. You'll know by this point that I'm quite new to Book Twitter and certainly to BookTube. Therefore, there are quite a few on this list that I have not read. There's actually only 5 on this list that I have read, but I wanted to be involved, and I know that it's for a good cause, so I will be donating to the charity. I will link all the stuff for the charity down below, because I think if you've got any that you can donate, that would be really helpful to people that need it. As I said, I've only read 5 of the books that are on the Bookternet All Stars list. I guess I am the hipster of BookTube, which is... Hello, darkness, my old friend. Anyway, so what I've decided to do is something slightly differently. I am going to red, amber, green them, if that makes any sense. But red as in the colour red, not red as in I read those books. Because there are some... There's an alarm going off. That's so helpful. Okay, we're going to try that again now that the car alarm has stopped. I'll try and sound less intense in future. I'm going to have a go at Rachael Marie's Bookternet All Stars challenge. You would not believe how many times it has taken me to try saying that as a whole sentence without but we're here and we've done it. I'm going to do it slightly differently. I'm going to do it as red, amber, green, because there are some books in this list that I have not read. There are some books on this list that I would like to read, and there's 4, maybe 5 that I have actually read. I'll go through the bingo board with you, which I will also put in the link below if you would like to have a go. I will also be donating to the charity because I think it's for a really good cause. And if you think it is also for a really good cause, you should donate too. I'm also not going to do them in the order that the bingo board is in, because I'd like to get all the red ones out of the way. So the books that I am just not going to read, because I think there's no point dwelling on it. I don't want to be negative about these books. I'm just not interested in reading them. So the first one on the list is the Shatter Me series. I don't know much about it, but what I do know is I doubt it's going to be for me. There was a time when I used to read nothing but dystopian novels, especially dystopian YA novels, and that time has passed. The world is trash and I want escapism. I want utopias. So I just don't think that's for me, and I probably won't ever pick it up. Plus there is something about having a giant eye on your front cover. If that's your favourite series, yay, but it's not for me. The other one that I will absolutely not be reading is the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Again, there was just something about this. It passed me by. I'm not really interested in picking it up. From the sounds of it, the genre isn't really what I'm interested in. I don't know how I feel about the whole script thing. I do like the idea of playing with form, but at the moment, like I said, I'm just looking for the escapism, and I just don't think those books are going to be for me. Who knows? Maybe in 5 years' time, there'll be a film out and I'll be obsessed. But until that time, I'm just not going to pick them up, so that is also another red one. Thankfully, that's where the negativity ends, and we can move on to the orange section of this challenge. These are books that I have not read, or not read all of them, but I am looking to read. The first on that list is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. Now, I've owned this for a while. I don't know why I haven't read it. I think just because I know it's going to make me sad. I guess I'm reluctant to read books that I know are going to make me sad. I know when I DNF and unhauled asking for it, I specifically said that I didn't want it because 2020 was not going to be the year that I made myself sad. Having said that, I think there is something about this book that I can't let go of it until I've read it. I don't know if it's based on real events or if it's just based on what is actually happening out in America at the moment that is just horrible. I can't let it go. I can't read it yet, which is why it's in the orange section, but I really just need to man up and read this because I've heard that it's beautiful. So I am excited to read it. I'm just reluctantly excited, if that's at all possible. If that's a thing, that's how I feel. Next on the list is Leigh Bardugo. Now, I have Ninth House, I have Shadow and Bone, and I have Six of Crows, and I have not read any of them yet. I just haven't got around to reading them yet, but I am quite excited. I've heard really good things, and I trust the people that have recommended these to me, so I am excited to get started. I don't know why I have like random sections of the series. Obviously, Shadow and Bone is the start of the series, and Six of the Crows is still Grishaverse, but a separate series. I don't know how that happened. I think I bought this one and then realised that actually I needed to read this one first, and then I'm hoping that this is a standalone that I can just enjoy. That was one that I got for Christmas. So anyway, it's a whole thing. But anyway, I will eventually be reading Leigh Bardugo. I just haven't yet. I do like some dark academia and YA fantasies, and by the looks of things, this isn't YA fantasy romance. That is not my thing anymore. I'm quite excited to get started with those ones as well. The next on the list is the Bone Witch series. Now, I hadn't actually heard anything about this until maybe 2 weeks ago when I saw that someone had been gifted it, but it looks really interesting and I've heard some really good things since then. So it has been put on my TBR, but I don't own it yet. Next on the list is Victoria Schwab. She's an author that I've started watching content of, and I've been following on Twitter for ages, so I don't know why I haven't read any of her stuff yet. Again, people speak of her so highly that I'm quite excited to dive in, but I think partly it's I know that I have a whole bunch of books from authors that I haven't read that I already own, and therefore it's a case of, because I don't own any of her books yet, I don't want to go out and buy them when I've got these already. I guess there's that guilt that plays into it, but once this TBR is cleared, or I just need it, I'm gonna work my way through that whole series. I think she's got quite a few books out, and I think maybe that's it. Maybe I'm intimidated by how many books she has out. I'm excited. Next on the list is Adam Silvera. Now again, I had heard his name, but I didn't realise he had books other than Infinity Sun. It was Infinity Sun that I saw people talking about slating, so therefore it was kind of just pushed to the back of my mind and I didn't really think about it. But apparently he has some other books which are really beautiful. I've decided I'm going to revisit. I'm gonna have a think, and that's why he's at the moment in the orange section, not in the red section. I haven't made any hard and fast decisions regarding his books. I will probably give them a go. Anyway, I guess I don't have anything else to add to that. There's quite a few in here that I will read them eventually, I just don't have them yet, and therefore it's talking about them. I don't, like, there's no point like going into like why I haven't read them yet, other than I just haven't read them yet. I've only been reading properly again since November of last year, so I am behind on everyone else. I get that, and I know that there are so many other books that I had on my TBR before I even started BookTube that I need to commit to because I've owned them for a while. I mean, The Hate You Give is a prime example in that I've had it for a while and I just haven't read it, and it deserves to be read. Actually, with that in mind, I think I'm just going to skip quickly through the rest of the oranges that I have, because there's literally not much to why I haven't read them yet. With the Illuminae files, I haven't read those yet because sci-fi has not really been my thing in the past. I much prefer fantasy. It has to be a very specific type of sci-fi for me to kind of draw it in. Having said that, I recently finished Nevernight and I absolutely loved it. So if Jay Kristoff can knock that out of the park whilst working with Amy Kaufman, then I feel like eventually that's going to be a series that I will crack onto. I just haven't yet. As far as the Scythe series goes, I was really excited and I put it on my TBR, and then I saw that loads of people were really disappointed with middle books, and therefore I just haven't actually committed to it, because if the beginning's going to be fantastic and the end is going to be fantastic, but the middle is going to make me work really hard for it, and I know that in advance, I don't know if that's going to be a book series that I want to commit my time to. Ember in the Ashes looks like a fantastic series that I only heard about 2 weeks ago when I saw someone was doing like a reading vlog of it, and it looked really interesting, but I just haven't read it yet, so that's also in the orange pile. Obviously Sean Maguire, everyone has rated Middle Game. I don't think I've seen a single person say anything negative about Middle Game yet. That is firmly on my list, I just don't own it yet, but that looks fantastic. And the Every Heart Has an Open Door, I think, series is also hers, which a few people have suggested that I read. I think they're shorter books as well, so I should be able to move through them quite quickly. I don't know what this hand gesture is. Okay, we've got two left in the orange section. One is The Poppy War, which again, it's on my TBR, I just don't own it yet, but it looks fantastic. And the last one is Laini Taylor. Now, I do own this. I haven't read it yet. This is another one that I've owned for ages. I think I got this for my birthday 2 birthdays ago. Oh, 2012. So quite a few birthdays ago. That's embarrassing. Anyway, I've had that for a while. I think I've taken it to uni and back with me. I just haven't read it yet. There's absolutely no reason why I haven't read it yet. Having said that, my best friend Yanka has just read it and told me that's incredible, so I need to get on it. I will hopefully read by the end of this year, and then I will actually have more in the All Stars that I've actually committed to. That would be nice. Which means we are finally into the green section. I can actually talk about books that I have actually read. Yay. So the first one on the list I've got is Cruel Prince. Now, I binged Cruel Prince in a day, and then I binged The Wicked King in a weekend. I had other things to do. And I absolutely loved this series. I didn't read it initially because I got gifted it for my birthday, and then there was loads of drama that came out and everything was telling me that it was problematic and I wasn't really sure it was going to be my thing, and I read it with really low expectations. So you can imagine, start of the day, low expectations, end of the day, I finished a book and I'm desperate for the second one. The only reason I haven't read the third one is because I want to read it as a paperback. I much prefer paperbacks to hardbacks, and I want my series to sit together because that's the kind of person I am. I did think The Wicked King was better than Cruel Prince. I loved the enemies to rivals, rivals to lovers storyline. I just thought that was fantastic. Jude is a boss. If you've seen any of my wrap-ups where I've talked about these, you will know how much I love these books. My favourite book of 2019 and one of my favourites of 2020. Next is the Lunar Chronicles. This is a bit of a weird one. So this is my copy of Cinder. This is my friend's copy of Scarlet because I refused to spend any more money in this. It was okay. I didn't really rate it that highly. I mean, Rachel described these as palette cleansers. I wasn't amazed. I've been told that Cress is better, and I keep feeling like every time I read one, people are then trying to force me to read the next one, but it's just not a series I want to commit to. It was okay. And life's too short to read just okay series. Nah. Next is Cassandra Clare. I own all 6, I think, of this series, and I own the 3 Clockwork Prince series, and at that point I called it a day. I did start rereading, and then I got to book 5 and was just like, this is a lot, and I just halted. I guess at this point I had just had enough with this series. I was the right target audience for this when this first came out. I think these came out when I was a teenager anyway. This is probably another 2012 one, isn't it? 2007, there you go. So I was definitely a child when these came out, and therefore the prime target audience. However, trying to reread them as an adult is tricky. So I'm gonna give myself a break. I read, like I said, I read the first 4 last year, and I'll probably read the next 2 or 3 this year. But yeah, I know that Cassandra Clare has had kind of like a rebirth with some new books coming out, but I was really disappointed in the film, and then I was really disappointed in the series. They just didn't seem to compare to what I was imagining in the books, which I mean is great because I'm one of those people where I do like my imagination to do some of the work when I'm reading, and I have a very vivid imagination, and I didn't realise that having a vivid imagination where you can literally see things in your head wasn't common. Like, some people just don't see anything. I will literally read a book and it will play out like a film in my head. They're really great. I really enjoyed them, but they were of a moment. That's kind of where I stand with Cassandra Clare. I will not be buying any more Cassandra Clare books. As far as I'm concerned, Cassandra Clare, J.K. Rowling, they were of my childhood. I don't need anything else from them right now. So Sarah J. Maas. Now this is an interesting one because I feel like when Sarah J. Maas first rocked up, she took the world by storm, and I was apparently living under a rock somewhere and didn't even notice. So I read Crescent City last month, and it was the first Sarah J. Maas book that I had ever read. I have since gone out and bought Throne of Glass, which I think is the first book she ever wrote, and I'm going to try this series. Lots of people have said that by the 4th or 5th book it dies a death and I don't have to commit to it. It'll be really interesting for me to compare the two, and obviously I need to commit to this series as well. Now, I added this one to my Amazon wishlist, and Rachel very kindly gifted me this version, and I hadn't realised that I hadn't put the first one on my wishlist as well, because that would have made life easier. But I will also be committing to these series. I'm in a bit of a weird moment where the last 3 fantasy romances were just... My masters has kind of taught me to look at books in a certain way and break them down into certain parts, and Sarah J. Maas has just kind of said, who cares about parts? These were entertaining, and I'm like, yeah, I knew, right? So I really enjoyed Crescent City, which is why I'm happy to commit to the rest of her books apparently. But I think I'm going to try the different series, see how far I get, and not cry about it if it turns out that Crescent City was a one-off for me. It was entertaining and it was fun whilst it lasted. And then the last one is the To All the Boys I Loved Before series. This is another one where actually I thought I hated contemporary romance until I read To All the Boys I Loved Before, and then I went out and really struggled to buy the 2nd and 3rd one. You would not believe how tricky it was for me to buy these books. I didn't want to buy them from Amazon, I wanted to buy them from an independent, but then the independent messed me around a bit, so that was fun. Anyway, I really like them. It has inspired me to write more romance in my books, as opposed to just hard fantasy or anything like that, and mystery and stuff like that. So that actually they go far more into her relationships with her friends and her relationships with her family. It's not just a one-track mind romance, which A lot of adult romances that I've read are that. They don't seem to develop any further than that, or maybe I'm just reading the wrong ones. Strange things have happened. But yeah, I really, really liked these. And I guess that's it. So if you want to try the challenge, please feel free to do so. I wasn't tagged in this. I wasn't challenged by anyone. I just saw that it was a challenge that Rachel was doing. I thought it was for a fantastic cause, and I thought, yeah, I'm gonna give that a go. So other than that, I hope that you're liked and subscribed. I have launched a Twitter for my new Gothic fiction readathon, which I will be talking about more as time goes on, but I haven't actually posted very much as it is, because it is very early days and October is not for another 6 months. So that will be building slowly. But if you have any interest in doing a Gothic fiction style readathon, link for that will be down below. Other than that, it's nice and sunny. Go and enjoy an hour outside if you have not already, and have a nice day. The Bookternet All Star tag challenge thing. Looking at book Twitter and booktube's favourite books. Oh, she is warm. Nothing says I'm trying to pretend it's not summer like putting on dark makeup and having dark hair. Pretend I'm like the opposite of Rapunzel right now. Really trying to channel that darkness that I'm not seeing outside. It's like more romance. Can't even remember it. Bookternet video tag, video books tag, tags to video challenge. Did I just burp at you? I'm so sorry. The brain, she ain't working today.